Captain's Log 2. I did one of these this time last Friday night. It's Friday. Well, now it's technically Saturday. 1:54 a.m. Date is October 17th. So I got this mic, as I mentioned last time, so I'm gonna make use of it. Was thinking of like doing one of these like every day, but that seemed a little much, to be honest. My life's not that interesting. I'm not that narcissistic to record myself every goddamn day. But that said, I think it's good to do this some kind of regularity, and weekly makes sense. And Fridays are pretty good. Every Friday I feel pretty good. And that's what I got to say about my Fridays since I've moved out here. Um, every Friday I feel really good, to be honest. Every Monday I feel like shit. I hate Mondays. You know, like kill me now kind of thing. Constantly, just about every Monday. But every Friday I feel good. So that's saying something, right? You know, a lot of people maybe dread going into work on Monday. And I'm not going into any, I mean, I have work, right? But no one's going anywhere. But, you know, getting to work or working on Mondays especially. And sometimes it carries over to Tuesday too. But by Friday, I feel good each and every week. It's like, and that's, I think, the real key thing, right? Is that at the end of the week, I feel good about my job, my work, my life. And that's the thing, my whole life revolves around work. There is no life outside of work, for better or worse, for me recently. And by recently, I mean years now, basically, but especially since moving out to London. Um, you know, I have some few friends here, work friends, right? The company's not that big. There's just 9 of us now. 10. We just hired somebody today. Somebody just accepted an offer. I think the day one is supposed to be Monday, maybe. At one point, we were like 70, though. Imagine that, dude. Imagine a company going from 70 down to 9. And now we're doing better than ever in the last like 9 months. Last 3 quarters really strung together. A huge comeback. As I mentioned last time when I came out here, you know, we had like nothing in the bank, dude. Runway was like maybe months, maybe 1 to 2, not even 3. And we turned it around. And today we had a board meeting, right? So third good quarter in a row, and got to, you know, kind of present the results of Q3 to the board today. First and foremost, I'm glad I get to even attend those board meetings. The first one that happened when I was out here happened shortly after I arrived. I wasn't invited to it. Felt a little bit, felt like I should have been, or should be at least the next one, you know. Unfortunately, what I can say is that next one I was, right. And since, and to me, that's really the big value piece, is being able to do things like present to a board. Only other experience I came close to that was at Lean Data, you know, early days. The CEO there did this cool thing where he invited the board. It was a small board, just like 2 other investors, and then one, I think, like advisor maybe, but wasn't like technically on the board, but you know how it goes, to the office, and included the whole company in that, you know, board meeting. And I thought that was cool to be like a part of that. Yeah. Not that I presented anything in particular, but I was there for it, man. The funny thing about that day, though, is that I woke up with a rare case of girl in my bed, is what I texted my boss that morning. Sorry, boss, I'm gonna be late. I was late to work that day, as I woke up with a rare case of girl in my bed, because the day before was a Wednesday, and I did LSD on a fucking Wednesday, just randomly. Dude, if I could tell that whole story, I don't know. Things with telling stories I have to be careful about is that, like, I'm pretty, like, an open book, right? But I know other people aren't. So when other people are a part of my stories, right, it's the question becomes like, can I tell the story, especially if they're an integral part of it? Do I just like not use their name? I guess that's what I do. Those that know already. Those that don't know don't really need to know who the person is. I guess that's what I should do. But yeah, I just had some LSD somehow. I forget even how I came up on it, but I had it. was living in Shadowbrook, that dog house, that crack pad. And I had some LSD, and it was a beautiful, like, summery day. I decided I was just gonna took it. Some friends came over, one of which hooked me up with this. Thank you very much. You know who you are. And him, I can actually say his name, right? If he didn't do anything wrong, right? I can just throw out the hey, Tony, you know who you are. Thanks, man. Love you, brother. He was around, and then this, this other friend too. I just told him I just took it. And then my other friend shows up, and Tony tells my other friend that we're all three of us, this other guy too, awesome, what's up, had dropped acid. In truth, it was just me, but he told this guy that it was all of us. So then, like, just implicit peer pressure. It's not like we peer pressure, hey, bro, you should take it too, and we're on it, you should be too. He just said that we all were, and then I was, do you want one? And I was like, hey, do you want one as well? Knew what he was doing, and played along, of course. So the other guy ends up taking it. So we both take it. We go swimming in the pool. One of the best feelings ever, actually. I love swimming, man. Swimming's like, I feel like maybe the closest thing to fucking flying. You're weightless. You're like flying underwater. I love it. Anyone knows me knows I do. I always have since I was a little kid. And to me, that's like a benchmark of success, being able to have a pool of my own someday, sooner than later. Even in somewhere like London, I don't know if that still is a goal. If I live in London, is the goal really still have a pool of my own? No, I guess not. But maybe have a summer house somewhere. I mean, Europe, it's so easy fucking to hop here, there, anywhere in Europe. It's like a 3-hour flight to Turkey, summer house in Turkey, where there's a pool. And there's also a sea. 3-hour fucking flight. Last time I went to Turkey, I missed my fucking flight. So I booked the next flight out from a different airport, like 6 hours later. Flight cost me like $100, $100 fucking bucks. I booked it within like 6 hours before the fucking flight. Maybe it's cheaper because it's like hotels tonight type thing. I booked it so late, like they're just looking to unload them, right? They're like a cheaper price, who knows, maybe. I think it ended up being cheaper than the flight I booked in advance, like 2 weeks in advance was this flight I booked. Granted, it was a red eye or whatnot, but still, point being, the Uber to the fucking airport cost me more than the flight to fucking Turkey. 3 hours, take a red eye. I show up sunrise in Turkey because they're 2 hours ahead. 3-hour flight, 2 hours ahead. Flight left at 12:30, getting in like 5:30 a.m., 6 a.m. Sun's just like rising, right? And you're flying along the coast. It was fucking beautiful. I decided that if when I go again, I will go again, of course. Whenever I go, I will just take that red eye flight. There's no reason to take any fucking other flight. Show up morning of, have a full day in the sun. And that's why I wanted to book that flight instead of the same flight the next day, and miss out on a whole day of sun. But anyways, what was I saying? Oh, pool. We were swimming in the pool. Great, had a great fucking time, right? We're giggling. Actually, we were giggling too much, and that's why we got away from the pool, because there was kids there too, right? It was just like a community pool. There were kids there, and began to feel like, I think we might be giggling a little too much. We should probably leave. Maybe. Let's leave. So we left. But as we're leaving, my other friend, Jeremy, the guy I talked about last time, who was in jail, and because he went to jail, my dog went to the pound, and blah, blah, blah. If you want that story or whatever, it's already been told, I have to repeat. But shows up, and he's like, what are you guys doing? What are you up to? Where are you going? Well, oh, you guys are out to see you. Let's go somewhere, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, like the mood changed like that. Just him showing up. You talk about people's vibes, and druggies always talking about people's vibes, with the vibe. I mean, in that moment, it was just so apparent, bro. He came with not even a negative vibe, but made us feel not good, right? I just began to feel it here. I was like, just stop asking me. What do you mean? Where are we going? We're not doing anything. Like, leave it. Like, what do you mean? I'm not trying to go anywhere. I'm not trying to do anything. Like, shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out of my face. Like, what are you even doing here? Like, anyways, my buddy ends up in the shower, just letting the shower run over him, because he feels it too. Same thing came over both of us. He spends like an hour just in the shower, in the bathroom. I don't even know if he locked in, but basically, you know, in the shower, just sitting in the shower, letting it run over him. And I just like escaped to the parking lot, like pacing kind of thing. Ended up, the trip got weird. Then things got weird. You know, the trip, you get into fade, right? Through the evening, but still kind of like doesn't disappear. He's still trailing on it. And my other buddy is like talking to this girl, and this girl has a girlfriend. And they come over, and at this time my place is bad, bro. I picked up like a couch from a buddy, and it was just sitting in the middle of the living room. We hadn't even like fit it into the living room. It was just plunked like just in the middle of the living room. Like, what the fuck is this crackpad? What is wrong? Yeah, you just have a couch in the middle of. Anywho, so these girls come over, you know, we go swimming. Jeremy's around too, so it's 2, 3 guys, 2 girls, one of which is Jeremy. I love you, Jeremy, if you're watching this. But you also drive me crazy, but I still love you, bro. And so we're swimming, and then we're swimming in the pool. Jeremy decides to get naked and jump in the jacuzzi, all on his own, right? As if the girls are just gonna like thirst after his naked ass in the jacuzzi and join him, or I don't know what, because they were in the pool with us. He could have joined us in the pool. There's no reason you can't just come swim with us in the pool. We were jumping between the jacuzzi and the pool anyway at this point. You know, we're gonna go right back to the jacuzzi, you know, like join us in the pool. No. He just jumps in naked into the jacuzzi. And you know, some people like being naked and whatnot, but this wasn't, oh, I like being naked. This had ulterior motives that just didn't pan out for him at all. Like it was obvious he thought it would or whatever. And then that night, right? That night, long story short, fast forward, the girl and the guy, my buddy, and the girl he's talking to and the girl's friend are leaving. You know, I hug the girl goodbye. All right, peace, you know. And go back to my place. I forgot if Jeremy was still there at this point or not. And then all of a sudden, the girl comes back. I hadn't got back to my place. I was headed back to my place. She runs back, right, from the car and says, I forget what she says, but basically, I'm staying with you. Like Tony and his girl going, I'm staying with you. You know, we're gonna fuck. Like, I don't know if she's exactly, but that's what she said. Yeah. I'm not trying to, it was fucking years ago, bro. That's the thing too, dude. Time fucking flies so fast, man. Oh my God. Never mind the rest of the fucking story, right? The fucking story. But next day, something happened. What was the problem next day? Also, not only did I wake up, was she in my bed, but I had no food for Nick or something. So I had to go back to my mom's house to pick something up every morning of, and then I got stuck in like rush hour traffic, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I ended up showing up hell late to work. Boss is cool because boss was cool. Brian, much love, man. And then had a board meeting later that day. And then after the board meeting, you know, drank and blah, blah, blah. And just crazy fucking 48 hours. Just one of those times in your life that like plays out like that. Nothing was planned. It's not that often I wake up with a girl in my bed, to be honest. Not that often I take LSD, to be honest, right? And the only time I ever, at that time, the first board meeting I ever attended, right? What else? I mean, there's more too. If I tell the whole story, there are other like unique things, but you know, one of those, they happen. I was talking to my friend last night, Melody. Shout out, Melody. And we were talking about like she's seen that she's went on this second date with this guy. I hope you don't mind me telling the story, Melody, but it's a beautiful story. So I feel like you're allowed to tell beautiful stories, right? It's about the intention too, right? So she went on this date with this guy. Went on second date, 9 hours together, which is great, right? Like that's like the kind of holy grail of a second date or early date, you know. Especially if it's good, right? You're not. I mean, of course, it's good. Who does a 9 hour day that isn't good? It tells itself. and and sober too, sober day. They spent the whole day just walking around San Francisco. She was explaining. So on top of 9 hours sober, right? So we're layering, how good of a, first date, basically second date story this is already. Then after like 9 hours, they part ways at like, I think she said like 9:30, 10:30 maybe, which is a decent hour, right? It's not like, they part ways at like 2 a.m. It's like a very wholesome hour to part ways as well. And he's headed back to Concord and all that. So great. This is a great story. Oh my God. Then story gets great. And this is really the story all of a sudden is that she left her phone in his car. And he had to head back all the way to Concord from San Francisco. And he turned around. I think he got all the way back to Concord, turned around, came back. And this is, I mean, he already commuted from Concord to San Francisco, from San Francisco back to Concord, back from Concord, back to she's out in San Francisco at this point. She's in Alameda, Oakland, basically, right? I mean, still comes back, night of, not even like, oh, I'll come by next day, morning after, like came back night of, after hanging out for 9 hours, after making that commute 1, 2, 3, and about to have to go back a fourth leg. And not only does he come back with the phone, but he brings her coffee, and he's like a coffee obsessed. That's part of what they did in the day. They, went to buy coffee beans. And she's already calling him like Beans is a nickname. And I don't know if that's a thing, but like it's what she said, right? So I even forget his name. Beans is let's call him Beans. Previous guy, his nickname was Spleen. I was like, fuck that, dude. I was like, that's so 12-year-old me would say gay, right? But I'm just gonna say whack as fuck, bro. Because it's not gay, right? Let's be real. But like, it's fucking whack, bro. What the fuck, spleen? And like, it's like, oh, people called him that in college or whatever. I'm like, yeah, but he's 36 years old and he's still telling you that people call me spleen. So now you're calling him spleen, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being over judgmental, but bro, I just rolled my eyes so hard, and like I even think I groaned out loud, like what? Like fuck that. I'll never call him spleen. You can call him spleen all you want. What's his real fucking name? I already forgot. Like I was already over the guy. As soon as I heard that he told her that people call him spleen. Yeah, maybe in college, bro, and maybe those college friends maybe still call you spleen, but dude, that's a whack ass. I'm over reading too much into it. Beans is okay by me. I don't think the guy self-anointed that said his nickname was Beans, right? She just said it, right? Like it's kind of maybe a reference to the previous spleen. I don't even. Maybe she just came up with a spot on the call. I don't know, but anywho, comes back with coffee for her and something else I forget, not just the phone, coffee and something. I'm like, yeah, maybe that's a little simpy, right? Sure, maybe, right? But I don't know if I consider that simpy, bro. That was like, after a 9-hour date. I mean, if it's a 9-hour date, we can assume that he really enjoyed the date too. It would not last 9 hours, maybe otherwise. And we can also assume that because it was a 9-hour date and he left at 9:30, 10:30, right? That he wasn't just spending 9 hours with her to get her into bed, right? It wasn't just 9 hours because I'm just waiting, counting down the time till it's like, let's go back to bedtime. And, we do the dirty, right? So it wasn't even like maybe an ulterior motive 9 hours. I could see a guy holding on for fucking 9 hours if he thought it was going to end up with sex. So I could see that. But the fact that he left, I don't know. Maybe I'm making too much of things I don't know, inferring way too much. But there's no inference related to, there's things to infer, of course. But the fact that he came back with the phone, night of, all the way from Concord, with coffee. That's an amazing story. And the reason I raised it is what I said to her too, is that this is my aunt's funeral, which I mentioned on the last one of these. I don't know what is the husband of your aunt called? I don't know, right? Uncle? No, what is he? Just call him uncle, right? But is it uncle? Spoke, right? At her funeral. And you know what he spoke about? he spoke about the stories of when the kind of stories of when they first met, how they first met, how they first started talking. Talked about like the first time the first date. They talked about like the first they worked together, right? Apparently, my aunt sent him an email saying she's single now or something. Are you gonna take me on a date or something? Right? I don't know. It's funny, right? But and then he talks about how she remembers it as he took forever to respond, left her hanging for like an hour or hour and a half. And he tells a story about how the reason she was left hanging for an hour, even though he only sent a short, like 1-2 sentence response, was because he was agonizing over that response, writing and rewriting the like 1 or 2 sentence response he ended up sending, right? And that's a beautiful first like early story, right? And then the stories that he told about them going on their first dates and stuff. And what it made me realize, and I've already realized this, but it like reinforced, right? Is that I think a lot of like relationships, the concept of like well begun is half done. It's often applied to like projects, right? But it's very applicable to relationships as well. I feel like a lot of relationships just definitely build on, but kind of like fly off of. Like the first few months is almost like the springboard for the relationship, right? Like a good first few months, and like stories like this that Melody had about the second date, or that my aunt's husband had about them, kind of just poop, and the relationship goes like this. Sometimes the relationship never even gets off. We've all been through this, I'm sure, right? The talking stage, right? You're just kind of like on the runway, right? Like you're on the runway, like you're in a plane, right? And it seems like we might be about to take off, and it just never gets off the runway. Whereas some relationships, it's just like a rocket ship, right? It's just like, whoosh. And I think, those are like the love at first sight ones people talk about, right? And whether you believe, and I don't know whether you believe in love at first sight or not, I believe it happens all the time. It's like this, I just ripped that off of, what would you do if I sang out of tune? That song, whatever that fucking song is. I can't sing. I wish I could sing. If there's one thing I wish I could do, it's sing. The one thing I can't do that I wish I could do. If I could keep all that I can do, but there's one thing I could do that I can't do. It'd either be singing or coding. If I could be like Neo, okay, I'll take maybe coding, right? Or if I could be like, I don't know. I almost said Bieber, bro, but I'm not gonna say fucking Bieber, bro. But I don't know why he popped in my head. Who's a good singer? Is Bieber even a good singer? I don't even know. Is he? I don't know. Or is he just like another one of those pop? No. Who's a good singer? Who's a singer that like, oh, Chris Cornell or something, right? If I could be like Chris Cornell or like Neo, oh, that'd be a tough one. Who would I choose? But either of those, right? As far as things I can do that I wish I could. Maybe I could learn to code, but I don't think any amount of singing lessons is gonna let me be able to sing, to be quite frank. What I'm really concerned about here is that this is not actually recording, but we'll find out at the end. It says recording, but because I have these headphones and it's all plugged in, I'm not sure if it's actually the mic's working, but anyways, doesn't matter, I suppose. Well, whatever. C'est la vie. Which is what I said to my brother most recently. C'est la vie. Let me read this shit. My phone's dead. I'll turn it on. But this is an update from the story last time about him fucking flying back to quote, Operation Overreaction. Let's call it that. I'll read the text later maybe. But anyway, so today was a good day. It was a good week, ending with a good day. Board meeting went well. Strung together, third consecutive good quarter. As far as most metric, as far as just about every metric you can imagine, these are the 3 best quarters we've ever had. There is just one quarter where we had greater ARR than any of these 3 quarters, but that ARR was so suspect, and a lot of it just attrited. A lot of it just churned out. It wasn't. If this is different, well, we'll see, right? Time will tell. But anywho, whatever. Not to talk shop, but 3 good quarters. Came out here to save the company, and came out here, had a couple months of runway maybe. Now we're good through to 2022. which is when I'll be 34 in 2022. And I've been thinking about how I want to just like travel the world for a year. I know I sound like a wanderlust girl. Dude, if you have wanderlust in your Instagram, like it's got to be a little bit ironic, right? Like, there's like a little bit ironic, right? Like you're not putting wanderlust in your profile with a straight face, right? I mean, yeah, sure. Yeah, you have wanderlust. Yeah, like I'm not saying you're lying, but I mean, every girl's got wanderlust. Oh, it's maybe what I said to my coworker the other day, which might have been too much. So tell me if this was too much. She was like, "Oh, I'm going to start I'm thinking of," she didn't say she was going to start. Something came up and I think she jokingly said, "Oh, I'm going to start a food blog, uh, or like a travel, I think she said travel blog, right?" And I said, yeah, she said travel blog. And I said, how I have to get this right. Because if I don't get this verbatim, then it changes the whole perception, right? How did I say it? I don't know. So I mean, that'd be basic bitch. I didn't say that. All right, how I said it really matters with things like these. So fuck it. I said that would be like basic bitch shit, right? Jokingly. She knew I was joking too. And then she said, oh, a travel blog or a food blog, and I'd be like, yeah, double down on the basic bitchness, or not bitchness, is not what I said, but whatever, food and travel. Food and travel. Girls love to eat and girls love to travel and food. That's why the fucking travel channel turned into the fucking food channel, bro. The travel channel is the food channel. And what happened to the history channel, man? Like, I'm not saying anything new there. We all know, like, that's not news, but like, that was a shame, man. I love the history channel. It was my favorite channel back in the day when it was all like, World War II. And crazy how much footage they have of even like World War One. Always blew me away of just like how much footage even like footage of like World War One planes, footage from World War One planes dogfighting. Like, I was blown away by that shit. But then now it's all aliens and blah blah blah. Which, by the way, I believe in aliens. I'll put that out there. But we don't have to go down that rabbit hole right now. We could though. So related to that, I guess, is we're approaching election day. The last presidential election, I ended up in jail. Day of the election, was in jail for 3 days in the county jail, floor 5, I think. If I'm getting the number right, there's a significance to that if you know it. And was then transferred from this like mental floor to not to Elmwood, but to Fremont Hospital. And then I was in Fremont Hospital for like 45 days. It was like 42 days, 3 days in jail, 42 days in the hospital. And then when I got out 45 days later, so election day was November 8th, I got out of the hospital December 16th. I think that was 45 days, if that's correct. That's when I found out Trump got elected. I didn't know who got elected until December fucking 16th, 17th, right? And as far as the craziness and why it's related to the whole aliens thing is that I really did believe, God honest, and I believed it so strongly at the time. I still, as crazy as it sounds, and as crazy as I know it sounds, and as crazy as I know it is, right? I believed that Trump had made a deal with the devil, and Hillary was conspiring with the aliens, and not the good aliens. In my mind, there was 2 aliens. One type of alien, I thought it were like yellow jackets. Fuck you, fuck you. Don't really benefit you. The other type of alien was like bumblebees, right? Like, and that's how I thought of the 2 types. So I thought Hillary was conspiring with the bad aliens, and I thought Trump made a deal with the devil. So, and I was convinced that the world was going to change forever. and we were on the cusp of like a forever change. In retrospect, maybe I wasn't so wrong. Maybe not the aliens, maybe not the devil, but I mean that a lot changed after that. I mean that was big and blew a lot of people away. The fact that Trump even won. I mean, I wasn't there for the election results. I got arrested the morning of the election, like 6:30 a.m. But I can only imagine what election day must have been like. I missed out on it. Why did I hold that? And then, so yeah, we're approaching the next election. Here's my prophecy as far as being crazy. If we're gonna be crazy, we may as well get like try to be prophetic, right? Now, if you're not like, I've embarrassed myself so bad over my life, like that. I'm even self-admitting this shit soberly, and it's embarrassing that just because I've been through so much worse embarrassment is fuck it, bro. It's all just a story, man. Your life's just a story that ends with your eulogy. So live a novel life. That's some original material. That's a quote of my own. Self-plagiarizing, apologies. Fuck that shit. Self-plagiarization should not be shit, bro. I can self-plagiarize all the fuck I want, bro. If you're gonna give me a topic for which I've already written about, I'm gonna copy and paste, motherfucker. You're gonna dock me for that? Fuck off. That shit never made sense. Does anyone agree with that shit? Come on, man. Somebody explain to me better. It's just, you're making me like, you're telling me that I have to, if something I have already written is applicable to what I could write. I guess the point is like, if you have you could write about anything and you're just like, they give you an open prompt, right? Write about whatever you want and you just end up, turning in an essay you've already turned in. But if there's a prompt you give me, and I've already addressed this prompt previously with some writing that's applicable to this prompt, why can't I just copy the answer, re-answer with the same answer? Essay. But yeah, anywho, so what was I saying about? No, so story, that's right. What story? Oh, embarrassing shit, blah, 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 life's a story. And that's what life's a story is is how I motivate, is a big motivator for me. I think some people are very like money driven. Some people are very like chip on their shoulder, like your Tom Brady's of the world, your who else is famous for Aaron Rodgers. There's those that are like motivated by the chip on their shoulder. Even Jordan had it, right? He gave himself a chip on his shoulder. I don't know that he had any real reason to have a chip on his shoulder like Brady did or Rodgers did, which by the way, 49ers, right? You passed on, this is 408ers, by the way, but 49ers, you passed on two of the greatest quarterbacks since the last two greatest quarterbacks, Steve Young and Joe Montana. You could have had Tom Brady and or Aaron Rodgers, and it probably doesn't make sense, but or, right? You could have had either of them. You pass on both of them. I think that was how we cursed ourselves. Both of them wanted to be our quarterback. You broke both of their hearts. And maybe they wouldn't be the quarterbacks they were if it weren't for us passing on them, because they wanted to play for us and they were hoping we would pick them, and we both pass on both of them. So maybe they wouldn't be as good without the chip on the shoulder we gave them. But still, something to be said about Bay Area boys, motherfucker. Just angle that. But the story, right? So even when things get hard, even when things shit, even when I'm in jail, even when I'm blah, 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 like, it's like, this is all part of the story kind of thing. I'm very motivated by the narrative that I can make up in my head in a way, right? And sometimes that narrative gets very bad in my head and I get depressed, right? And that's the problem too, is that sometimes the narrative and story going in my head is just like, no bueno. And that could be problematic, of course, but if you just remind yourself everything's a story, just live a novel life and, write your story. For the most part, it's been beneficial. And it's just some people motivated differently. What I found works for me. And it's not even something I consciously said, this is how I'm going to motivate myself. It's just where I go to for where my head goes. So everything's a story. Even when I'm thinking about clothes I want to buy, what's the story behind this brand? I even look up their Wikipedia, right? What's the story behind this brand? You know, do I want to wear a shirt from this brand? You know, if it has a logo on it, like especially, I'm like, what's the deal with this brand? What's their story? Even if there's no logo on it, what's their story, right? So yeah, if that makes sense. Big story, man, as you can tell. And someday I'll write one. I'm committed to that. Knock on wood. Touch wood or touch word. I'm still not sure what the Brits are saying. Are they saying touch word or are they saying touch wood? Because we say knock on wood, right? We don't say touch wood. We say knock on wood. I think they're saying touch wood though. Touch word. Touch wood, probably. That said, all that said, what more do I have to say? I think we'll leave it at that. We can keep it short. Not everything has to be so fucking long, man. I'm long-winded as it is. I don't even know how long this is. I don't have like a timer on Zoom like I do on QuickTime. That's what I'm doing this time. I'm using Zoom instead of QuickTime like last time, because this way I figured last time I was trying to thought to share my screen on something and couldn't because of QuickTime, but with Zoom I could, but nothing on my screen I'm looking to share. We'll leave it at that. I'll say goodbye here. There is more to be said though. I feel like I really didn't get to anything, like any crux, but that's okay. There doesn't have to be a point to everything. And the point here is really just to express myself and express myself in a way that I can look back on and review. As I mentioned before, here I'm just repeating myself. So that said, I am going to post this one. The first one I did, I thought maybe to post it, but as with all things, it's like, are you going to post the first time you do something? Sure, maybe. And I almost did, but I was like, am I really going to do this? Because what's the point? It wasn't so special a post that it kind of stands alone on its own. But if I'm going to keep up with this every week, and so far I'm 2 for 2, may as well post that first, or those first two, because got split accidentally. But yeah, post that first log and 1 and 1.5 or 1.1 and number 2, and keep it up. So if anyone's listening to this, stay tuned in. Probably put it on Medium, I think. We'll see. I mean, if you're watching this, you already know where it's at. What am I saying? But that said, yeah, I think I'm starting something here. And as I've said before, I'll slave plagiarize to sign off. It's not so much about drawing people in as it is drawing myself out and putting your signal out there, because I really do believe you put your signal out there, and I've done it before earlier in life. People pick up on your signal almost like a radio signal and send their signal back, and you end up connecting with people you wouldn't even have thought you would. And that's why I think I have like so many like different types of friends, is because I just do that, and you never know who's going to like pick up on your signal and send a signal back, and you guys just have a connection. So there's something that's to be said about that for sure. But really it's just about drawing myself out and think about like drawing myself out for me to look back on and see who and how I was at this very like pivotal time in my life. I mean, I'm 31, 32. I'm 32. Ooh. I never thought they would actually, I always like, how the fuck do people not know how old they are, bro? 32. Yeah, I'm 32, and pivotal time in my life in every which way. My whole life right now revolves around work. I really gotta add some prongs to my life, but regardless, it's pivotal, and that's something I like to look back on regardless. So that said, much love, peace out, do good, and see you soon. No, that's not good enough. I'll say plagiarize again, ready? And I'll really sign off. Sign on, tune in, speak out.